Welcome, everybody. It is September 27th, and we are continuing to discuss progress towards the 5.0 upgrade. The hot topic ongoing right now is testing, the early tests for the APIs. Do we have either any feedback to report there or any questions, requests on the ENF side?
The first thing I tested doesn't work. So 100%.
Well, that is very useful feedback. What was the first thing you tested?
Prometheus. Kevin and I are discussing it in the operator group.
Okay. Pulling up the group now.
Well, actually, that's the second thing I tested, because the first thing I tested was to try to do a pin build, which also failed. So, test 1 and test 2. So, so far, so good.
The testing is paying off, at least.
This is why, I'm the #1 opener of GitHub issues, probably. I didn't check the stats, but...
Only because I just slide up in Kevin's DMs for mine.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin opened some of mine too, so gotta make Kevin look good. I'll create this issue.
We just need to create some GitHub issues around the Prometheus exporter, and then you said you also had an issue with pin builds.
Yes. Yeah, discussed it a few weeks back.
Yeah, Matt's always already working on those, the reproducible builds.
Yep. Yeah. Well, thank you, Mr. Darwin. I'll go ahead and open that GitHub issue if you haven't already.
I'm doing it now.
Say that again.
I'm doing it now.
Oh, okay. Great. Has anybody else had a chance to run through any of those?
I feel like it was just yesterday when we had this meeting.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I'm totally going to spin it up and run it. And I haven't even done it yet.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Because other things are breaking, like Hyperion. Oh, no, I've been playing a game. True story. I blame Shaq.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, so we'll address that bug urgently. What's the next topic?
So Prometheus is working on working on port 8888. So who wants the feedback on that? Because I started looking at that and I went, these metrics don't make any sense.
So you're saying when you say working, you mean it's putting out metrics, they're just not right?
I can scrape them, but
I see.
The output looks interesting, shall I say?
Yeah, I think details on what the discrepancy is or what's interesting about it would be helpful, either in the chat or ultimately in a GitHub issue.
I will do that. Unless you want to discuss it here.
Yeah, we could discuss it here.
Yeah, so I don't know if anybody has this. Just share screenshot. I don't know. How can I share a screenshot here? Daniel, can I share?
Would you know the guy running the meeting?
Host disabled participant screen sharing.
can't they? Separation is just describe what you have if you want to share. Describe it. He did. He just described it.
Yeah, it's I mean, Daniel said that he was having connection instability, so he might not have heard that you wanted screen sharing. I just sent him something in chat.
Look at that 10 cannon strings you guys have up there and love them up. There you go. Yeah, sure. Okay.
So,
Yeah.
okay, maybe you can see my screen now.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm just looking at this. So it's trying to output, looks like it's trying to output all the connection details. But presumably these connection ID things are not sticky. So I have this running on Jungle, obviously. So I don't know like how the naming is done here. Because if, you know, you restart, then these IDs are probably going to change, right? So we need a stable identifier for the connections. But presumably that's like the
Agent ID.
like this thing, 8C5, whatever. Probably your peer ID or something.
Yeah, it's the node ID. Yeah, that would make more sense.
That would be stable, right?
Yep.
So it should be like Node EOS P2P connections, like connection ID equal, not forget this number thing. Connection ID equals this,
Right.
comma, you know, whatever, this label equals Jungle, whatever, right?
Yep.
Same thing here. So that would, yeah, then when we reconnect, then we still get the same connection and those metrics will carry forward.
Yep.
So that was just the first thing I noticed, but anyway, at least we got more stuff here, which is very cool.
When you ran that, is it just giving you everything? Like it just gives it all? Or can it be like a pointed request?
Right now, it's just everything.
Okay. I mean, Prometheus is a raw source of the data. I mean, you can then scrape it and filter it and slice and dice it.
Yeah, maybe you don't want to pollute your database with everything. So maybe you'd want to turn off this peer-to-peer connection thing. So if you have over 1,000 connections, then maybe that's going to overload your Prometheus database because that's quite a lot of data.
Yeah, sorry, I was also thinking of it just like an API to request a little bit of data. But I suppose it's not like that. Hey, it's going to actually just bundle everything up and have it available for you to take somewhere to scrape. Does Net Peer or Net, what's the Net API? Does it maybe have that info now? I mean, there's an API to see information about your peers anyway, right? It's a bunch of garbly.
Cleos Net Connections?
Yeah, one of those. Whatever it was, I was digging through it. Where the chain ID doesn't equal null and you know it's connected. You know, something useful.
Clio Net Peers. Net status.
I was chasing that on WireGuard connections to see what was connected. But anyway, I mean, there is a Net Peers that, you know, is supposed to be able to, it probably doesn't handle parameters, but at least you could query it.
No, it doesn't. And it has not been expanded for 5.0, except for there's an indication of whether it's a BP peer or not.
Yeah, so all these other metrics, you know, all that stuff would be nice if it appeared there as well. Because it's like a table, isn't it?
Prints out it. Well, I guess Clio's does the printout of the table, but the JSON has all the data.
Well, because it gives you network connection, which is your connection ID there, chain ID, node ID, key, time, token, SIG, P2P address, last universal block number, ID, head number, head ID, OS, agent, generation. So now these other nice new metrics show up there. All right, so a couple of new requests, because that would be good to have it show up there. All right, well, that's, you know, I just installed it like 30 minutes before this meeting, so that's as far as I got. So what's the new way of configuring the ports? Kevin, you mentioned something about there's a new way of doing this.
Yeah, I put a link on your issue to PR 1137 that has the docs on how to do that. Now we'll need to get that, of course, into the release notes and the final documentation, but that describes how to do it.
Yeah, high level, we talked about this a while back, but there are categories for different HTTP endpoints, and you can specify addresses, host names, ports, or Unix socket paths for any of those categories in config.
Yeah, so that's really nice. It allows you to have different internal versus external capabilities on your node.
Okay. So we'll try that next, see if we can get it to work.
So the takeaway here is, with just 30 minutes of your time, you too can help us avoid issues in the release. That is, if you have Matthew's blazing fast fingers and brain.
Well, I'm not sure if it's blazingly fast or it's just, 5 years of torture to get to this point.
Battle tested. Well, don't know if Daniel is capable of facilitating right now because of his internet issues. Are there other topics that we should discuss?
Right now it's okay, but it's coming in and out. Right now it seems to be smooth.
I have one topic. The updated the system contract to remove deferred transactions, and so working on that. And once we get that with a new release, via 3.2 release for system contracts, I'll go into Jungle, and then we'd like to arrange a time to put it into production as well. With the deferred transactions going away, there may be cases where people have contracts that need to do explicit refunds. But since we turned the deferred transactions off, they'd already been seeing that.
I was going to say, so what is changing here in these new contracts that's not already deployed? Because the new MSIG is already deployed on EOS. I guess it's not on Jungle, but...
Yeah, it's just for the EOS system contracts for the bidding on names, and for bidding on names, also for system resource refunds, it's taken out deferred transactions. And so what used to happen is if you did a deferred transaction for stuff like name bidding and you lost the bid, the deferred transaction would expire. You'd automatically get the refund. Now, if you're bidding on something and you lose the bid, you have to do an explicit refund in your contract.
But
so that's what's changing. I just took out the deferred. We took out the deferred transactions, so you won't create new ones anymore. So most people, there was an if statement in there a long time ago, so most people aren't running that. But there was some confusion with our rollout, and I think Jungle actually has older, different version of system contracts, which actually still creates deferred transactions. So shouldn't change anything. But this will finally clean it up. No more deferred transactions created with our system contracts. Get rid of that code.
Any other topics on anyone's minds? It looks like it's a short one today, Daniel.
Oh, right. Well, that's lucky for me, given my connection issues. Well, was there something else there? Sorry.
I was to say, oh, it's good. We got enough bugs to work on. We got plenty of homework.
There you go. There you go.
Sure.
Maybe we'll have some more for next week.
Cool.
All right. Well, thank you.
All right,
Have
everyone.
an awesome day.
Take care. Cheers.
Bye.